Look at that. Holy shit, maybe it actually works. Let's see. Can you guys hear me? Because this is pretty fucking cool. Let me test it out. Wu-Tang, that's yes, you can hear me? This is the most ghetto setup of all time. All right, cool. I may have to go to the other side of the table. This is a little far. And yes, I am filming on a poker table. And this is kind of like a last minute thing. I was talking to Discord tonight, and I bought a bunch of these just from random people in Discord. And this one came absolutely fucking smashed. You can kind of see. This is terrible. Like, I couldn't sell this if I wanted to. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to send it back because I think I paid much less than market. You can see the little thing there. So I figured, what the hell? And, not trying to copy Rudy's mat here. He uses the, Arabian Nights one. This is the Antiquities one. I thought it was cool. So what the hell? So we have this. We have a poker table. You can see I am Anon, but I have hands. So that's cool. So I figured, what the fuck? So let's break into this. I'm hoping for a PSA 5 completely smashed serialized. I have not opened any Final Fantasy at all yet. So this should be fun. Give me a second here. I didn't have a chance to do a video last night. I had a late hockey game, so came home and crashed. We actually listed our black and white sale today. It is a little smashed. Holy shit. And we sold black and white. We did a bundle. It was $525 for premium. It was 2 black, 2 white ETBs. We basically took the entire, I guess, release schedule, broke it into 2 pieces. 2 ETBs, 1 booster bundle, 2 posters, 2 Victini, 1 sticker of each. Did I say 2 posters? I don't know. So for $525, which I thought was a pretty good price. But yeah, let's see. I actually have my laptop set up across 2 little movable end tables, which is kind of cool. So we'll see. Let's see what garbage we get here. In fact, I was actually going to stream that, or I was going to do this in Discord, but they're like, yeah, why not stream it? Go live. Why not? It is a little hard because I don't have a whole lot of light here. And if I get, that is a Surge Foil Celis. Let's just set her to the side. If I get anything worth anything, just let me know, because it is really hard to see here. I'm going to have to do this differently next time, but that's okay. So, yeah, this is kind of cool. Oh, my hand's a little, sorry, too far. So I will slide everything back just a little bit. So yeah, Final Fantasy. So what I've seen with a lot of the pricing, and what you guys should have noticed, is there's just been a ton of product come to market from botters, scalpers, whatever you would call it. Amazon, Walmart. Well, I don't know if Target had it or not, but a lot of the stuff was delayed a little bit. So a lot of the things that were supposed to be delivered in early June were delivered in the past week. So that's why if you look on TCG Player, eBay, you see a lot of just random Arden the Usurper, Newfound Adventure. I don't know if that's good or not. Another Arden the Usurper. You'll see a lot of just rando, no-name sellers. Just listing the cards, and it doesn't really mean shit. But a lot of the stuff's starting to dry up. And I am terrible at making piles. So I'm just going to stack the shit here. So, you see collectors. The Omega packs, I think, were 105 yesterday. They're down to 95. So there must have been a lot of shit delivered today by the mail. But again, a lot of that's drying up. So I would expect to see these things skyrocket very soon. Earth Crystal, that's kind of cool. Promise Fulfilled. That is not the one I thought it was. Unigrand Summoner. Sid. So what's interesting is during the pre-release, everybody talked about there's like 20 different Sids or something like that. And now all of a sudden nobody talks about Sid. So I assume the card just sucks. Because I remember people comparing them a little bit to the worst game ever, Final Fantasy 15. Complete fucking garbage compared to the rest. They were comparing the Sids to, is it the Nazgul in Lord of the Rings? But I guess that's kind of a dead comparison now. So there is 100% a fucked up serialized Chocobo here because somebody drove over this with their car and then set it to me for full price. Discounted price, but Seifer, Shadowbringers, Esper Origins, the Darkness Crystal. Just a bunch of shit. But yeah, I don't really open packs that often because it just kind of fucks up the business model. And I don't enjoy it that much, but I figured I can't sell it. I was going to open it with my kid, but he's asleep. It's a little late here on the East Coast. Tara Branford. Urza Hierartificer. I assume that's a good one. Let's throw her over there. So I figured, fuck it, we'll just open it. So let's talk a little bit about Pokemon here. So we have Black and White coming out in two weeks effectively because we have the pre-release week. That's a week early. It's going to be super interesting to see what happens. I know there have been a lot of drops. There's been a lot of success with people getting them normally. The allocations haven't been nearly as tight. I know I've gotten significantly more than what I've gotten for Prismatic, but you have two SKUs. You have Black and White. So it's going to be interesting. Noctis. Again, the worst freaking game of the series. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Because you have two different sets. It looks like the black set's probably a little bit stronger. The white set is okay, but outside of the full color black and the full color white card, and then the main SIR, there's not a whole lot left. I'm getting fucking smashed here. This is awesome. Laboratory Maniac, Esper to Magicite. That's a cool looking card. So it's going to be interesting to see, and I know every EX has an IR or something like that. But I just, in the back of my head, I just have Paldean Fates where, you have the baby shinies. They're worth like $2 a card. It's they end up being kind of worthless. Ooh, Cecil Dark Knight. That's a good one, right? Oh, I see something good here. Let's see. I don't see something good. Soldier Military Program. So we're going to see what's going to happen here. Is it going to get smashed? Is it not going to get smashed? I mean, I think the ETBs are going to come out probably in the 75 to 90 range. I know on eBay, I think it was 190, something like that for one of each. Ooh, this pack is really, really fucked up. You see the little bend in the cards here. So we'll see. We'll see. Golbez. That is Surge Foil. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Newfound Adventure. These cards, they're beautiful cards. The other thing that I think a lot of people forget with the pricing of the cards, especially on TCG Player, right around the time that the set came out, TCG Player moved from Syracuse to Louisville or somewhere in Kentucky. And the direct program, which does a ton of volume, I am not a part of it, at least as of right now, went down. So I've had a lot of conversations around what is going to. Ooh, that's cool. Vaughn Street Thief, Surge Foil, Fatal Push. It used to be a good card. I don't know if it is now. What's going to happen when that comes back? Are people hesitant to buy because they're buying from a bunch of randos? Cecil, whatever you want to call them. Is it going to have any impact? Is it not? I know a lot of people are complaining because folks in the direct program who are currently suspended in the direct program because it doesn't exist have to pack a lot of envelopes as opposed to sending them to one place, which I can imagine kind of sucks. So, last 2 packs. Arden Usurper. Another Surge here. Oh, there we go. Promise Fulfilled. No, it's the same card. Chocobo Knights. Stiltskin. Buster Sword. There we go. There's a little Surge Foil. Uncommon. The Surge Foils are really cool, but the one thing that I've been actually pushing quite a bit personally is, the pre-release cards with the stamps. I know generally speaking, people don't care that much about them. I know they've been a big thing in Pokemon, but with Magic, not so much. With this set, I believe you can get both rare and mythic. So, I think as time passes and this set starts to move, forward a little bit, I think there's going to be a lot of value there. And I know there's some garbage singles, but you also have the fact that with the banning of whatever the recent 7 cards are, I can't think of them off the top of my head. Some of these cards are going to get pulled out of here and they're going to matter. So Squall, CD Mercenary. I think that's a good one. That is Surge Foil, Wild Rose, Counterspell, no longer banned in Vintage. I have no idea why it was ever banned, but whatever. Vintage, Legacy, whatever the fuck you want to call it. All right, we are not going to get that serialized card. No shit. All right. Cactar, Thief Knife. All right, so the fucked up box looks okay. No idea what the value is. But whatever. Let me check the comments real quick because this is a terrible setup. Hey, you know what? Fuck it. I got another box that was spinning. Gonna make it 2? I'll put these in sleeves at some point. I may handle the cards. Let's check real quick. The only thing that sucks about this is at least in Discord, you have people yelling at you and telling you how bad you fucking suck. Here they type it, and it's so far away I can't really see it. Look at this. You can see how fucking smashed this thing is. I'm actually glad I opened this. It looks like literally somebody put their boot right on the box. At least I can. There we go. It's much better. This over here out of the way. So, Golbez, bunch of junk. Let's talk a little bit about Edge of Eternities. So, I know a lot of people have slept on it early on. There's been a lot of hype recently. It looks like there is probably not a serialized headliner, which is really, really weird to me. And the reason I say that is, they found something that worked, and now they're going to change it. but the total that's a nice Tifa here. Jesus Christ, what did I do? Hold on. My stacking's terrible. The print run is tiny. What I've been told, Joshua Phoenix Dominant, this is actually a fun game. I enjoyed that one. And I grew up, I actually bought Final Fantasy 1 from KB Toys back in the day, so I'm old. The print run is small. It's extremely small. It's actually, from what I'm told, from multiple distributors, it is smaller than Tarkir. And as we know, Tarkir was extraordinarily small because nobody gave a shit. Because it came on the tails of Aether Drift and Innistrad Remastered. So, Mughals Valor. It's interesting because, wow, this is garbage too. We're kind of right in the middle of this weird time between Final Fantasy and Spider-Man. So, when we placed orders originally, I just want to stop for a second. We kind of thought of it from the standpoint of either this set's going to be a complete dumpster fire, or they're going to really kind of have to step up their game and make sure that this is an absolutely badass set that's a crush. And we actually did the same with Innistrad Remastered, because we were all racking our brains for a while, just trying to figure out what good cards are on the Innistrad plane that just haven't been outclassed and outpowered at this point. But here it looks, so far, it looks like it's going to be super interesting. So, I don't know if you guys saw, but there's a new sliver card that gives all slivers double strike and trample and, all kinds of crazy weird shit. Lightning bolt, great. Another squall. But it's going to be interesting because, at some point, people are going to move on from Final Fantasy. I don't think permanently. Summon Fat Chocobo. But they're going to need something before Spider-Man. And I think, I think it's going to be a good set from the standpoint of there's not going to be much out there. So, I made the comment the other day in video, and I think, one person or one or two people in chat skewered me. I think it's going to be similar to Foundations from the standpoint of there's just not that much out there. It's going to be a decent set. Now, I wasn't a big fan of Foundations, still skin, mostly because I didn't really like the cards that much. Llanowar Elves being like kind of the chase card, at least when it came out. I have a bunch of Alpha Beta Unlimited old school. Like, I don't need a new fancy version that's like $500 when my Alpha version is just getting shit on every day. But that's just me being selfish. All right, Joshua, there we go. Ooh, nice little search foil. Let's see, summon materia. So I guess the back part of these packs is just kind of garbage, is where the uncommons, a handful of commons are. I am getting absolutely smoked again. This is great. Like, the boxes got run over by a car and smoked. And now there's nothing in the packs. There you go, Vincent Valentine. Surge foil there. Another cloud. I wonder how much the clouds are. This is like the second or third one I've gotten. That's not foil. I haven't actually looked to see if the foil multiplier has kicked in here. I know it's been somewhat decent for the last couple sets. But when I was opening a lot of Magic, it was just trash because, it was just as easy to get a foil card as it was a non-foil. So, the premium was like, 2%, 3%. Sometimes the non-foil were even more. If you look at some of the old, I shouldn't say old, but like 2-3-year-old, the fuck is it? Secret Lair drops. The non-foil versions are actually cheaper. Nibelheim Flame, Kafka's Tower. Getting smashed. This sucks. Coral Sword. This is my favorite in Final Fantasy 1. So if you guys haven't played it, you probably should. It is super mindless, but you know, when I fly for work, I have Final Fantasy 1, 2, and 3, I think, on my phone, and I'll just sit there and I'll play through Final Fantasy 1. It's a lot of fun. It's let's see, Ancient Metropolis, White Rose Rebellion. That's just a regular foil. Jill, she's a really fucking annoying character in that game. Not gonna lie. You know, the music just, you know, it's relaxing. Ultras. Damn, dude, we got 3 packs left, and we have a couple $100. But I don't feel bad because I couldn't have sold that box to anybody. Tella, Cecil Harvey, Ultima. Let's see. Oh, it's a legendary creature god, not the spell. Okay. Wow, this is pretty bad. The other thing, I don't know if you guys have ever played the Wii version. So there's a Wii version. It's a lot like Final Fantasy 2 for Super Nintendo, and I forget what it's called, but I used to play the shit out of it because there was a level at the end where you could just keep grinding and go down and down and down, and then I just, you know, kind of got bored and gave it up, but it was cool. Summon Titan. Apparently this is, well, it's just a regular rare. Titus, Kefka. I don't even know who this character is. Wandering Minstrel. There's a little uncommon. So, unrelated, what do you guys think about the collector commanders? You know, the performance of these has been kind of dog shit compared to everything else. You know, there's really no chase. You know, it's obviously Surge Foil, but I've been pretty disappointed. Una, Hope of Spirit. I think that's a decent card. I've been pretty disappointed with the performance there. Go-Go, he was great. You know, I don't know if it's ever going to do anything. I mean, I'm sure it will. You know, you look at the wow, terrible. You know, you look at the Warhammer Collector Commanders. You know, those have moved quite a bit. I think they were like 400 or 500 when they came out. They're sitting around $1,000, $1,200 now. But the MH3 ones, they haven't done shit. So we'll see what these guys do. So anyway, hopefully this was fun. Let me check chat real quick. Watching me get absolutely annihilated. All right. Yeah, that was two. You know what? That was 2 terrible boxes. You guys want to go for one more, or should I go to sleep? All right. Add a run into storage. You get another one. Why not? All right. So I brought the comments over. So what is hard to see on camera, just so I know for future? Oh, they're showing upside down. Oh, shit. My bad. I can fix that. I'm new here. I didn't realize I was a fucking idiot. How's that? Is that better? Shit, there we go. Hold on. Let me try to fix the camera here a little bit. This is a ghetto ass setup. This thing might come crashing down, but okay. There we go. Just give me 1 second. I need something to pinch this. Sorry about that. Again, I'm new at this. Hey guys, for those of you who don't know what mono is, now granted, I'm old and I got it from working too much and not sleeping. But when you're young, it's actually from kissing girls. So yeah, you may not know that. All right. Not so much freaking delay here. Oh. Yeah. It's not $34.50 if you don't pay $34.50. Just remember that. Yeah. And there we go. There we go. Still down too much, am I not? Yeah. Okay. Let me try one more thing here. All right, we'll just reach out a little bit. A professional side job that pulls in big bucks. It is not kissing girls, that's for sure. All right, this is way harder because it's hard to see the cards now. Odin, Primal Summon. Hold on, there's got to be a better way to do this. Let's see if we can do it this way. There we go. Yes, I do. There we go. Odin. Newfound Adventure. Okay, there we go. You guys can see the cards. Helicopter. General Leo. I actually used to be the CFO of a public company, but it was a miserable lifestyle. So kind of went private. And then, I grew up playing Magic. So, I have a huge vintage collection, bunch of Cecil, Nature's Charm. I have like long boxes of Alpha Beta that I have forever. That's cool. A lot of older graded cards, but I kind of transitioned into Pokemon a little bit, and the only reason for that is I just got a little disenchanted with the whole overprint Magic Cynthia Williams era. It's just kind of garbage. So you see, Jesus, that was terrible. See your cards get overprinted and reprinted and smashed, and the value just goes to zero. Outside of playing, which I don't really have time to do, it's just like, what, fuck these guys. So Ultima. That was kind of the thought, getting into Pokemon. And then, always did a little bit of Magic, and now just kind of getting back into it. So crinkly. The sound and the fact that I'm manhandling the hand because I can't see around the camera right now because of the way I set it up. Checked. I don't even know this guy. Lucas Stadium, Una. Let's see if I can get a little bit closer here. No, that's fine. Esperemu. This is the last one. Never opening cards again at this rate. This is fucking terrible. We got a bird. That's good. Something. Wandering Minstrel. Is that Carpet of Flowers? I don't even know that card. Midgar. Golbez, Swamp, Ambrosia. Just blow through the junk cards here. So does anybody know, let me try to adjust this a little bit more. Where There we go. Where in the pack, what slot are the Chocobos? The Neons? Anybody know? So, play boosters, good question. So we heard originally that it was going to be 3 to 4 months, which is total bullshit, right? Nobody takes that long. But then we heard end of June, early July. So we've actually gotten a couple cases coming through. I mean, we're getting about a case a week from each distributor. But what I've heard is that was effectively safety stock from WotC. So there's no reprint in earnest yet. We don't know when. I know Tarkir and Bloomborough are scheduled for August. So I don't know if there's a big reprint coming out with Edge of Eternities or they're just struggling. It's the weirdest thing ever. And I mean, we know they're printing in Belgium, they're printing in Japan, and they're printing in Texas. By the way, the game with these two, I couldn't really figure out, like, they banging, they not banging, they brother and sister. Like, it was so weird. Hamet, Leviathan, that's weird. 3 summons in a row. Okay, so the card I give a shit about is right after the token. Well, see, I just picked up 12 randomly and played it, so I wasn't sure. I was confused, as those two may have been as well. Hero. Cerberus, interesting. Jumbo Cactar. For all the hype this card got, it just kind of died. I don't think it's worth, what, $12 now? Something like that. Probably less. And Summon Brynhild. I don't even remember that one. Blow through the junk. Oh, I have the Chocobo tracker open. It's been on 24 for a couple days now. Oh, it's on 25 now? Well, it was like 18, then it went up to 22, then it went back down to 20. The only reason I was paying attention that much is because I tried to imply what the actual print run was versus how much was open. So Hero, ooh, Aerith. That's a Surge foil. It's a good one, right? Couple $100, maybe, maybe not. Just set her down. Okay, I'm stuck to a card here. I stuck? No, I'm just an idiot. Jill, Genova, herpes. I'm a child. I'm sorry. $100. Well, that almost pays for the pack. Great. See, so I have a 4.5-year-old, and he comes downstairs, and he's like, Daddy, I want to open packs. I'm like, no, we're not going to open packs. We don't open packs in this house. And here I am opening packs like an asshole, lighting money on fire. And meanwhile, I'm trying to like teach him to not do it. I'm like the Catholic Church, do as I say, not as I do. Aiden the Usurper, Hugo, I don't know that dude. Check, Krill, Tifa. Wow, fucking terrible. Premium. Yeah, so look, I think at least the premium, we get through black and white. We have to see what the print run looks like for the next set. Because what I've tried to do with premium is I'm trying to keep it so I can guarantee everybody at least a sealed case of booster boxes for a regular set. Obviously, that's not realistic for a specialty set like this one, especially since the ETB cases are two totally different SKUs. It's not like it's 5 and 5. So we'll reassess and adjust as we have to. Genova, Newfound Adventure. God damn, these cards blow. Ishgard, holy shitty. There we go. At least the Chocobo makes me smile. Allocations for which one? For black and white? So right now I have I'm at like just under 300 ETBs of each of black and white, and then kind of, all the ancillary stuff kind of falls in line. The one thing that's interesting is the tech stickers are way down because I think they shipped all those to fucking Target and Walmart because that's what they do. Now, who's getting shafted is this shitty box. Dark Confidant, that's a cool one. Fang. So play boosters are interesting, right? I'm just going to sit here for a second. So play boosters, they're going to print a ton of them, and I think the market's going to absorb them. And, I'll just let me take a step back. So earlier in the year, I was pretty vocal about how I think they're going to overprint Spider-Man and stuff like that going into the end of the year, because look, these guys just care about money and bonuses and shit like that, like every corporate person would. But now that we're seeing that they can't keep up on printing, it's kind of changed my mindset a little bit. Where they've obviously way underprinted Final Fantasy, and the beauty of it is they didn't underprint it on purpose. They thought they printed it accurately, because if you look at distribution, initially they said, hey, it's open order, we'll have plenty, etc. Then they started to allocate and shut things down, and then all of a sudden they're like, holy shit, we don't have enough. And then it was panic mode, which is why they've gone from open order with Edge of Eternities to allocation. So I think Hasbro themselves have kind of significantly underestimated what the demand of this set's going to be. So, which means if it's going to take them 2 to 3 months to pivot, because again, they don't own their own printers, they're paying somebody else, somebody else's to print. I don't think the 3 to 4 months is realistic, but it could be 2 to 3 months. Like, it could take a little bit of time, in which case, the plays are going to start to dry up. Now, again, we did just see this little bit of emergency stock, quote unquote, leak in the market, which is, call it 10% of the total population, just total Aspel number. but I don't see what's going to slow them down. Now, we have seen, I think we've seen a dip in some of the items that got botted and scalped quite a bit on Amazon. I mentioned this earlier, Walmart, whatever. But those are almost true through. It's really not that much different than what we saw with the Prismatic Evolutions ETBs. There were so many scalpers on that. It's just no-name sellers dumping into the market. And it's going to get chewed up in a week and a half. And then we're going to continue to move up. And it's just going to be what it's going to be. Yeah, Spider-Man's a weird one because all the nerds I talk to are more interested in Avatar than Spider-Man, which is which is interesting. I wasn't a comic book guy growing up, but I'm also not a big Avatar fan, so it's gonna be interesting to see what they look like. So, all right, we got Hero, Squall again, regular foil, Kuja, some dude that I can't pronounce. These are at least different cards. It's a shitty fucking consolation prize, but whatever. Garland, still the best character in all of the game. Opening the fourth. No, there's no way I'm opening the fourth. I will open a Pokemon box just to not light more fucking Final Fantasy money on fire. God, that was terrible. So what do you guys have me? Any other questions? Anything you want to talk about? Anything you want answers to? More importantly, is this better to look at than a black screen? There you go. I played ice hockey my entire life, and my feet are all kinds of fucked up from skates. Okay, so plays at $200. They're going to go from here. I would probably sell them at some point because in a year and a half, they're going to go down. But quite honestly, it's, I don't know. I wouldn't be big on those. I would rather buy collectors at this point. Twilight reprint. Have heard nothing about Twilight reprint. We've seen some booster bundles come into the market. I did manage to get about 400 ETBs of Twilight from an extra special source that I have coming in. They'll be here for Premium and Elite. But I haven't heard anything about any reprints. Nobody has said anything about any reprints coming outside of, obviously Surging just hit last week from Southern, Destined, and then, your normal 151 rumors. With Blooming Waters, nothing past that. So not much else. Fatigue from the cards and the feet. So thanks, Trev. So in addition to the Twilight, I did buy 600 ETBs of Shrouded Fable. I think it's time. I think the market's starting to dry up, and at some point it's going to start moving. Now it might be $5 at a time, but before we know it, those $50, $60 shit ETBs are going to be sitting at $110. Final Fantasy collectors. I mean, look, it really comes down to, what are your thoughts? What is your own financial situation? Do you need the money? Do you not need the money? Because ultimately, it is going to continue to compound over time. It's going to go up. Boxes are going to get ripped inherently. We're never going to find all 77 Chocobos. And this is where I think they did a much better job than what they did with the One Ring. Because once the One Ring was found, it kind of fucked everything else up. Now, you look at the price and in hindsight, and it's like, holy shit, I should have bought all of it. But you're going to have that gambler's premium for, $40,000 plus hit in here. Especially since these 3 garbage packs are now gone. I think the EV of all the rest of the outstanding packs just went up by like 3%. So how can you not love it? It's going to keep going up. Paldean Fates. I love Paldean Fates. I mean, I'm selling. I just listed cases of the 3-pack tech stickers, and I know I'm a little bit above. I believe Hills has like seven cases. Steel City has 2, but I don't think it's going to get a reprint personally. It just got a big one in February. And I mean, if you're WotC, Jesus Christ, if you're Pokemon, are you going to reprint Paldean Fates? Or are you going to reprint Prismatic Evolutions and try to keep it under control? Because if you don't keep it under control and keep the product coming, the packs are going to go to $14-15. It's just going to happen. Sword and Shield ETBs, I like them personally. I think they present better than the booster boxes, and that may be a hot take, but I like them. I think, one of the videos I want to do going forward when I have a chance is just kind of take a look at the ETB price versus the booster box price versus the set value, and just see like where things are kind of messed up. And I'll give you a quick example. And I think somebody talked about this briefly last night. So Sword and Shield base booster boxes are like $500. The ETBs for the longest time are like 60 or 70. I think they just hit like $100, $120. So if you look at the ratio of pack value on the two products, they tend to get out of whack a little bit just based on how much product has been in the market recently. No different than what we're seeing right now with Prismatic. The value of the sets through the roof, but there's so many ETBs coming in the market with, the Costco drop and everything like that. It's just kind of, the market just gets distorted. And this is when, it's probably not time to start. It's always time to start accumulating. But, you look at Paldean Fates, it's going to rotate out in March or April. It's time to start accumulating. If you haven't, seriously, Paldean Fates 151 and SV 1 through 4. And if we get a reprint dropped on us at the end of the year, that's a little bit of a surprise. Just smile and, you pick some up. But, I think with the newer sets, I don't think they're priced high. I just don't think there's a whole lot of opportunity for them to go higher, because they're going to come out, they're going to reprint multiple times. Now, maybe not Journey, but we're going to see it with Destined, umpteen times. We're going to see more reprints of Surging. And then, we'll see what happens with MEO1 here in September. I mean, that's kind of the big bogey. If that set falls off a cliff and shits the bed, it's going to give Pokemon a lot of opportunity to reprint some of the old shit. Now, will they have time to reprint the old shit that's going to rotate out in April? Probably not. But that means Twilight's going to get smashed. Surging's going to get smashed. Destin's going to get smashed. At least, in my view. I don't see, on the bull market, between Pokemon and Magic, I don't see a scenario where the bull market slows down significantly. I don't see a catalyst that's going to do it. People tend to talk about the general economy, but honestly, TCGs are like cigarettes and alcohol. When the economy gets shitty, people just kind of lean toward it as a vice, a distraction. I just don't see what's going to slow it down. I mean, it's going to take multiple shitty sets over 6 to 12 months for it to happen. Pokemon is not going to make the same mistake they made in Sword and Shield. And quite honestly, it wasn't their mistake. They couldn't forecast very well when it came to, when the doors unlocked. And Magic, I think, has removed all the pieces of shit in management that made all the poor decisions. So I don't see either one of those companies making the same mistakes they made before. Do we know if Japanese collectors have a chance for the big chocobos? So my understanding is the Japanese collectors have the black chocobo. I've heard rumors they have a higher chance to get it, but I don't know for certain, and I'm not sure we're ever going to see enough pack opening statistics to prove or disprove that one. Yes, Trav, long on Fates as well. Love it. Also, Um, I also managed to pick up some Astral Radiance 83 cases of 3-pack blisters for a pretty good price. So we're gonna have those coming in Discord very soon. And don't worry, Elise, you're gonna, because I don't see 83 of them going to our 150 or whatever premium folks. And I mean, if you're trying to get any sort of sizable sword and shield, it's really fucking hard to get at this point. Let's see. Yeah, Dustin, the 525 is only for members. So the way I run the site, and we actually set it up this way, and one of our members, he's a super sharp dude, came up with the concept is we set up a coupon program with Shopify where we can send the coupons directly to the members. So we can have it open listed on the site at some obscene number that doesn't make any sense. And quite honestly, I think Safari Zone and some of the other sites tried it for a little bit. I don't know if it worked or didn't work. I don't care if people look at the price and say, Anon, you're a fucking asshole. That price is too high. It's there to keep the pricing in, or keep the product for the members. Yeah, that might be my shitty FiO service. It's after midnight. Is that any better? Yes, no, maybe. Yes. But yeah, I'm choppy for myself here. What the fuck? There we go. Okay, that's better. Okay. So Spider-Man's a weird one with Marvel, because when Marvel themselves were on the verge of bankruptcy, they sold some rights off that I believe Disney does not own. So there's a weird split between, you have the online game rights and then you have the print media rights. I'm not an expert there. It's a weird situation. Have I sold anything super crazy high price? In 2014, I got a bonus from work, and I went to Vintage Magic, Daniel Chang, and he had an alpha, beta, and an unlimited sealed starter deck. And I think the total price was like $11,000. And I'm like, holy shit, this is like more than my bonus, but I really want to buy it. So I ended up buying it. It was fucking shady as shit. I had a Western Union money to like Oregon, whatever, and hope to God it didn't disappear. And this is 2014. This is before people are like sending Venmo and getting in cars with total fucking strangers they don't know. I ended up getting them, and I sold them. I sold them this past year to help kind of fund the distro pricing and the growth here. And I think I got like 140 grand for them. So probably like a 12x in 10 years. Not nearly as high as what they were in the bubble. But yeah, that was that was a good deal. It was tough. It was tough for a little bit because unless somebody's gonna do a break or open them, it's a little tricky to get folks to trust them. Now I have Providence from 2014 on, but I mean I even talked to Wubby about it, and he's like I don't know what to do with it. So, and I've sold Wubby quite a few sealed products. He had a Zendikar sealed case, original Zendikar, original Onslaught sealed case. I sold him both of those that I had from back in the day. Funny dude. Yes, if somebody puts in an order at a high price, I eat the processing fee. It's a cost of doing business. Is buying booster boxes to fill an open case worth it? Not really. Look, when it comes to Magic and Pokemon, there's really no case premium. And the reason for that is there's no case hit. Now, there's some thought process that there may be a case premium with Pokemon going forward. And the reason for that being there's just so much product going to big box stores. And as we all know, if you buy a case quantity of anything from those stores, they all come as individual units. They will never, ever send you a case. So, the actual case itself, it could be at some point. I know we see it with evolving skies. I think there's like a $3,000 case premium right now. But look, it's a fucking cardboard box. It's not like you're going to throw it on your shelf and be like, hey, look at this. I got a fucking 2-foot cock. It doesn't work that way. I mean, Paldea evolves really distorted right now. So, I mean, you could look at the market. I just think there have been a couple different buyouts and a couple spikes there. So I get your point. I don't think it's it's a good example, just given, some of the market distortion there. OTJ, I mean, look, the problem with OTJ is they print it too fucking much. I could still get it from 2 different distributors. So until that's gone, it's kind of dead money. And I know Rudy pumps it every single time. I'm sure he has a ton of it, but when I can buy the boxes for $180 a distro, the market is going to be capped at some point. I do not buy them for $180 a distro, by the way, because there's not that much value in the boxes. And I mean, if I did the opening, there'd be $80 of value in the boxes. All right. Let's take one more question if anybody has one. It's fucking after midnight. I'm tired. Today was a very productive day. Oh, no, not OTG plays, OTG collectors, sorry. OTG plays are like 114. Ooh, 151 in Paldea. That's a good question. So what's interesting, and I didn't really appreciate this till a couple months ago. So kind of put together the pack destruction tracker. So effectively what we did was we looked at how many cards have been graded at PSA. And, you can say that there's some regrades and stuff like that, but let's just isolate that variable. And then we took the expected pull rate and backed into the total number of packs that would have been required to be ripped to produce those cards. And what was fascinating is 151 in Paldean Fates was almost identical between the Charizard and the Bubble Mew. So I can't imagine that there's the same number of packs out there. So the only thing I could think of is there's so many people that ripped the 151 and just threw it in a binder or threw it whatever. There just has to be a higher percentage of Bubble Mews being graded just based on it's just a different group of people who want to rip 151 versus who have ripped Paldean Fates. I think if Trev was still on here, he'd be able to point to that. I think Fates is going to be tougher to get in the future than 151. There are so many fucking loose packs of 151 out there. I actually had somebody reach out the other day, ask me if I wanted 65,000 packs, and my responses were what I put them. You have to buy a rental property just to put the fucking packs. But I don't get those questions for Paldean Fates. In fact, other than some of the deals that I've gotten recently, I haven't seen that many opportunities to buy big chunks of it out there. So the short answer is I don't know. Folks are going to want 151 because of the nostalgia, but Paldean Fates is going to be more scarce and more difficult to get in the future. So the short answer is probably buy both because we don't know what's going to happen. Number one investment. I mean, I don't really call this investing. The unfortunate thing is since I have distro access, I look at things completely different. Where I look at this is what I can buy, this is what I buy it for, this is what I can sell it for, and I just want to make sure there's enough meat on the bone for everybody to be happy, everybody to make money. You guys get a great entry point, just relative to market. It may not be long term, but relative to market at that point in time, and go from there. I do like Shrouded. I do. I think if you look at the number of cases and the number of ETBs on TCG Player, I think there was like 108 loose ETBs and like 13 cases. They've disappeared and they've gone somewhere, and I don't know why. And there's no chance in hell that they're going to reprint it. Now, you could buy them at 70 and it could be 90 2 months from now. But ultimately, when you get into a market that's super frothy like this, you really need to focus on, this is going to sound stupid, but capital preservation. The entire market isn't going to fall apart like you see on Wall Street where, everything changes at one time. It changes over time, but the product that's least likely in the entire market to go down right now is probably Shrouded Fable because it is at the lowest price point. Crystal Beast, Japanese cases, you're talking just Pokemon or Magic? Just because we were talking about Japanese Final Fantasy collector boxes a little bit ago. Gundam is no longer listed because they've allocated everything, or they're in the process of allocating. So with Gundam, what I've been told is that Bandai has forced the allocation on folks, and they have handed almost all of the product to the big stores that have been managing large events. Now, that might change tomorrow. That might change in 2 days. The set doesn't come out for 2.5 weeks, but that's what I'm told so far. Oh, you're talking OP? Okay. You get 65 packs of 151 by having relationships at the highest levels of distributors where you're buying them at a beneficial price to both parties, and then you're breaking down the blooming waters. This is a fair market economy. Yeah, Hills does have Paldean Fates. Nate's really jacked his prices up out there since I was out there in December. But yeah, Fates is good out there. Dude, Wu-Tang. Shrouded Fable ain't nothing to fuck with, man. You got people don't want it until it goes up. It's the weirdest fucking thing. The way that folks should think is when shit gets cheap, that's when you buy it. When shit goes up, that's when you sell it. Not in Pokemon. When things go down, that's when you sell it. When things go up, that's when you buy it. It's the most bizarre thing ever. I do have an update on Godzilla. So I was told yesterday that Bushi has not imported Godzilla into the US because of tariff issues. That was only one distributor. I don't know if that's true or not. We have also not seen Nikki. Nikki has not been received by any distributor. That was supposed to be here by the 15th of July. Now, Bushi's generally late on everything. So we'll see. Yes. $30 Silver Tempest. I have 20 cases of Silver Tempest that I bought in August from Mad Al at $25 per box because they couldn't get rid of them. So premium folks, they're still sitting in storage. We talk about them every couple weeks. It could be stuck in customs. Fucking Godzilla got it. Oh yeah, TCGs are the least sophisticated market ever. Even the most liquid pieces, you look at TCG Player versus eBay, then you go to the dregs of Facebook Market, and it's all over the fucking place. I mean, if somebody had unlimited time, they could probably make a fair living just like scalping and trading back and forth. Now, the problem is you get scammed once or twice, you're kind of dead, but whatever. I think Riftbound's going to be fine. The reason I say that is the first set of any TCG with an IP generally does well. And even if it doesn't do that well, people are going to buy it just because it's League of Legends. Now, what I don't know is none of the buyers that I've spoken to know from, what is it, UVI, UVS, whoever the fuck it is, what print runs look like and what allocation looks like. But I do have a high degree of certainty that I'm going to get it enough to run a sale because they have pushed it out to every distributor. So you have some distributors that are very, very political and everything goes to the big accounts. You have other distributors that are smaller, fairly similar, goes to larger accounts. But that's part of the reason why we diversified across 7 distributors, because everyone's going to look at every game and every set a little bit differently. So, some sets you get hooked up by one distributor, other sets you get screwed by the same distributor, but it kind of averages out over time. And that's how we've been able to kind of navigate, quite honestly, the number of subs in Discord here. Just because we have a high degree of certainty that even if I don't want to say you get screwed, but if we get squeezed a little bit by one distributor, we can shake a little bit loose in another distributor. And it seems to work. I think one of the challenges that some of the YouTubers have is, I don't want to say they've gotten fat, dumb, and happy, because that has a negative connotation over the years. But with Pokemon, you only had to have Southern or only had to have PhD, because when nobody wanted the product, it wasn't hard to get. So, you get a little complacent and, instead of, spreading your spend across the board for when things go nuts like this, you just kind of sit back and you wait for the game to come to you. And, kind of, you kind of get screwed when things just go crazy as quickly as it has. So the sleeve booster cases, the price on the website is kind of the price I sell them to everybody for. Now, in the past, yes, but Surging Sparks was the last where I could get a meaningful amount. And that was when the big box stores were just rejecting their allocations. So a lot of the sleeve boosters were going through distribution. Now they're not. So, for example, I got 65 sleeve booster cases of Surging Sparks on open order from 2 different distributors before the set came out. I've gotten 4 cases total from all distributors for the last 2 sets for Destined and Journey together, because they're just not going through normal distribution. They're going through MJ Holdings and Excel and the big box stores. Yeah, hey, it was great for Surging, because we placed that order 3 or 4 weeks before release, and Distro's like, yeah, sure, nobody wants this shit. And then next thing you know, the $380 cases are going for $800, and it was a good day. So, all right, guys, we've been here long enough. This is fun. This is fun. I don't mind this at all. So let's wrap it up. Have a good night. We'll do this again soon. Jesus, I'm gonna kill myself with this.